Hi everybody, it's Richard here again. So we're back for episode 2 of our UI Builder tutorials. So in this tutorial, we're going to take our My Notes application, we're going to add some more elements to it. So we're going to carry on from where we left off in episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 1, I suggest you go back and have a look so we go through some basics that we've done there. Okay, so let's get started. So we're in our Notes application, as you can see here. I've still got the elements open from the last episode. So we're going to go back into UI Builder, and what we're going to do is we're going to work on that Notes record page again, but this time we're going to put a drop down up the top here, and what we're going to do is we're going to have the different views, the form views that we want to have in that drop down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, as somebody selects the drop down, we're going to have it update the form so that we can change the form view as we so desire. So okay, so what we're going to do, first thing we want to do is I want to add a control up the top here. So to do that, as you can see, we've got a number of elements in here already. The top right hand one is designed to bunch everything over to the right hand side, as we can see here, and it's working in that kind of right to left kind of way, so we can see that. So what we can do, if I come down here, I'm going to add, but I want to add before this element, so I want to add before, and I want to add a drop down. Oh, that helps if I could type it. Drop down. Here we go. Oh, that's big. We don't want that. So what it's asking me over on the right hand side is I could use some of the pre-configured kind of drop downs, but I don't want that. I want to create my own. So what we're going to do is we're going to click none, and that shrinks that down quite nicely. So we've got a load of different information on here. I would suggest you have a play with some of these and see what they do, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to keep it nice and simple. So what we've got here down at the bottom, now we've got our list items. So we can see here we've got ID1 label. We're going to edit these, and we're going to put in the different names of the different form views that we have. Well, we're going to pick 2 to be exact. So what we're going to do is, I don't know if you can see that, but if I click edit on the screen here, it brings up this lovely view. Now I could use this view if I wish. I prefer to use the JSON view. Now it always shows it as one long line, but what we can do is if we click this little format code here, voila, it shows us in a much better view. Now there's 6 items in here. We don't want 6. I'm only going to have, I think it's only 2 that I want. So let's get rid of that comma. And the ID I'm going to use to be the name, or the internal name, if you will, of that form view. So what we've got, so if we go back to our data and our form view, we had note view 2, and I'm going to use default view. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to use this one, just because they're nice and simple. So we want default, so default underscore view and note underscore view underscore 2. So let's go back to UI Builder. So let's click on that properly. So default underscore view, which was our, we'll call it our default view, and we'll also then put in our, what's it called, note underscore view underscore 2, and it was our second note view. So we've got our 2 values in our drop down, so we can apply that. That's now in there. I'm going to leave this, everything else alone that we've got here. But what I am going to do is I want to create an event that will then, when somebody selects that item, for it to then be put into the parameter, well, or should I say in the state variable, I get my names right, the state client state parameter that we've got here. I'm going to fill in this note view 2, or this form view, from that particular drop down. So we're going to do that along here. So to do that, we're going to do a couple of different things. So the first thing is, you will note that we've got on our drop down, we've got style and we've got events. Now we've got nothing will happen here at the moment. So if I was to, let me just save this, and we preview this, so I've got it, it'll bring up the view. So we can see our drop down, we've got our 2 items showing up here. Now if I pick default view, second view, nothing's happening because we haven't put any event in yet to capture that to make it work. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this. And what we're going to do is on the event, I'm actually going to create, let me just get rid of that. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a script first that's going to pull in the values that we need. And then from there, we'll then read them from that drop down and put them into the variable. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to create a client script. Now to start with, we're not sure what information is going to get passed to our script, so I'm going to show you a little trick that makes it a bit easier to find out what's going on. So first of all, we need to add a new client script. So we're going to call this drop down. You'll notice that when you do this, it doesn't always keep up with you. Drop down clicked. And what we're going to have is we have a number of different things that get passed through. So API, event, help. You'll learn what each of these different ones are. So the two we're mainly going to deal with are API and event. So what we're going to do is, because we don't know the data that's coming through just yet, we want to see what structure it is. All the information that gets passed through is in JSON format. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a console.log, log, and we're going to do JSON.stringify. And we're going to do it for the event. Now the event is what gets passed, obviously as part of that event, and we want to see what it's going to pass. So we just save that, and what we're going to do is we're going to add that to the event. So what we're going to do, let me just close this down. We're going to add event mapping. So we've got some other things here. So when selected item set, or drop down item clicked, that's really what we want. So when drop down item is clicked, you'll see we have a number of different items here. We've got our new script. So drop down clicked, we're going to add that in, and we're going to save that. Now, it's not going to do a huge amount at the moment, so let's open the URL path. And it's just going to bring up our page. But what we can do is if we've got the developer tool switched on, if we open up the JavaScript console, we'll see a bunch of stuff happening down the side here. Now, we'll just wait for that to finish doing its thing. If we now hit that, oh look, we get some information that's getting passed to us. So the element ID is drop down 1, name is not drop down. So we can see from within here, we want to pick out item and the ID. So we can do that within our script. So let's close that down. Let's come back to App Engine Studio. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our script. We can leave that there for now because it may be useful for us to debug. So what we're going to do is we're going to do const, and we're going to say form ID, and we're going to get it from, and it's from the event dot. Now if we can remember all of the information that was in there, we're going to have payload dot, and then remember there was a structure, so item dot and then the ID. Now that's going to give us back the ID that we've stored in that drop down. Now what we need to do is to set the client state parameter to that value. So our item is called form view. So we come back to our script. Now to do that, we have to do the following. We say API dot set state, then the name of the state thing that we want to set, and then the value, which is our form ID. So what that's going to do is then update that client state parameter, which will then update all of the things that are watching on that particular state parameter. So now we hit save. Just click this down, and what we're going to do is we're going to open the URL path again. Now, if I pick default view, magically it's changed, and I can pick second view and it changes, and that's now happening for us automatically. So the drop down event is occurring, we're setting the state parameter, and that parameter is being monitored by that form controller, which is now looking at what's going on for that. So very quickly we've created our updated user interface. So that's it for this episode. Hopefully that's been useful. I'll start uploading some more episodes as soon as I can, but yeah, please like and subscribe and come back for more as they're uploaded. Thanks very much.